What a game between Newcastle and Man City. I can't get my words out. I mean, absolutely incredible match. A brilliant advertisement for the Premier League. 5 fantastic goals, late drama, the return of the king, Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, this guy is, it's the NFL season, it's the Super Bowl season, and he is just the quarterback extraordinaire. Absolutely won it the game for them. But will he be the difference in the title race? They've got that ominous juggernaut feeling, haven't they? 03717 223344. Chelsea also defeated Fulham in the early kickoff 1-0 thanks to Cole Palmer's penalty. But should Augusto have been sent off? 100%. I think, again, officials are under scrutiny. And we've only had 3 Premier League games. Last night, Luton, very lucky. That's a foul on the goalkeeper. Red card for Gusto today, every day of the week. And I've got to say as well, I will talk about it in a moment, the refereeing at Newcastle is disgusting when you think about the yellow cards that are getting given for dissent and how many times Rodri's throwing his hands in the air with a yellow card. Why do Man City players get away with it? Disgusting. We've got some big games tomorrow as well, including Manchester United against Spurs. And I'd like to know who you think is better, Ange or Ten Hag. 03717 223344. I'll let you know what I think shortly on that. And we'll get into our half-term reports as well for the Premier League club. How's your club doing? 03717 223344. This is the Mark Goldbridge Show on talkSPORT. And remember, if you've got something you want to say, call, text or tweet the show and your contribution could be today's best of the best. So remember, 03717 223344. So look, let's recap on the games today. There's been some controversy, but it's been a good day for the Blues, Chelsea and Manchester City. 2 Premier League games as we go into this sort of mid-winter break where we get 5 games each weekend. Chelsea, Fulham at lunchtime. I think a couple of controversial points in that game. The Raheem Sterling penalty is very similar to the Bruno Fernandes penalty against Wigan last Monday. To me, it's a penalty. It's reckless defending. They've left the foot in. They've contacted the player. The player's got every right to go down. If you're going to start saying that's not a penalty, we're going to have an even more bigger nightmare than we already have, in fact, with VAR, because how do you determine what contact's enough to go down? Lovely penalty by Cole Palmer. But I think the big talking point in that game was that Fulham were robbed, as far as I'm concerned. 0-0. Definite red card from Gusto. We've seen Curtis Jones. We've seen Basuma. We've seen loads of red cards given for that. How Anthony Taylor doesn't see it on the pitch, I'll never know. And were VAR having the dinner? I don't know what they were doing. Having the dinner? I don't know. Incredible. I thought in real time it was a red. And every time I see it, I'm like, it doesn't get any better. And at 0-0, with Chelsea down to 10 men, maybe Chelsea still do win, but it's a really, really bad decision. I don't know what your thoughts were about that. But look, Chelsea got the win, 3rd win in a row, up to 9th, I think now. No, 8th now, because Newcastle lost. So, yeah, more points than Manchester United. Well, not more points, but they're above Manchester United and Newcastle now, Chelsea. What does that say about Manchester United and Newcastle? And then on to Newcastle, cracking game at St James's Park. If you take it for pure entertainment, that's what we watch football for. That's what we love football for. 5 incredible goals as well. The flick from Silva, the 2 curled finishes by Isaac and Gordon, and then the De Bruyne finish, and then Bob, quick feet at the end to win it. He certainly wasn't sideshow Bob, was he? He was Bob the Builder. He got the 3 points for Manchester City in the end, but the constructor was not Bob the Builder. It was Kevin De Bruyne. He was absolutely brilliant when he came on. And look, it's one of those things for Newcastle. I think there was a level of naivety. I said it at half time. Foden kept picking the ball up in between a very flat midfield from Newcastle, between the defence and the midfield. And Foden's not the sort of player that De Bruyne is. And I said at half time, if De Bruyne comes on and gets that space, he'll shoot, he'll find the ball, he'll find the balls. And he did. He scored he picks the ball up between that gap. I don't know why Eddie Howe didn't say to one of his midfielders just to drop in on Foden or De Bruyne for 90 minutes, because especially in the second half, Newcastle had no outlay. They had no out ball at all. And it was an accident waiting to happen, but you think they're going to get a good point, and then Trippier goes to sleep, Bob is wide awake, and it's 3-2. And I think there was an inevitability to Man City, and unfortunately, as a Manchester United fan, I think that there is an air of inevitability anyway, because we've seen Man City do this so many times before, where they're relentless, and it's hard to see where they're going to go from here now. It really is. I think that they're gonna be relentless. But I do want to say as well, get your calls in. I've got to say this as a Manchester United fan, and I'm sure Arsenal fans and other clubs will agree. We've seen in recent weeks yellow cards given for dissent. Delot got sent off at Anfield for 2 yellow cards for dissent in the same incident. I cannot understand why Manchester City have got immunity from yellow cards for dissent. And I think, I'm not saying that they should be given, but when you're giving them to other clubs, Rodri gets a yellow card, Kovacic gets a yellow card, and then for the rest of the second half, they're in the referee's face, they're throwing their arms around. I just think that referee doesn't have the confidence to do his job in that second half. And I'm sure many Newcastle fans agree, and I'm sure many people agree with me. We saw it at Everton when they got the penalty and they're charging around the referee. There seems to be one rule for one club and one rule for the rest. And until these referees stamp down on it, Man City are going to keep getting away with that. And look, they probably deserve to win the game, but I'm tired of seeing the dissent, and I'm tired of seeing Rodri specifically get away with it. And on a yellow card, Pep should be telling him to stop doing it as well. I thought it was bang out of order, but I don't think the referee had the confidence to do anything about it. Let's take our first call of the evening. Andy is a Newcastle fan. What were your thoughts tonight, Andy?
Hi, Bob. Listen, I'm a Newcastle fan. First of all, Man City deserved to win. And if they had anybody who could put the ball in the net in the first half, it would have been 4-0. However, their first goal, the challenge on Gordon is into the TV camera is off the charts, a foul.
Yeah.
I mean, 12 seconds later, while Gordon is still recovering, they go up and score. Why does VAR not go back and check that far? I don't understand, because I thought that in the lead up to a goal, if a foul had been committed in a lead up to the goal, then it would have gone back to the foul. That was my first point.
I agree, yeah. We've seen it before as well. We've seen it before, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second point was, what I don't want is all the Newcastle, I say fans, because I don't think a lot of them are fans, a lot of new Newcastle fans, shall we say, now saying Eddie Howe is not the right man for the job. Of course he is for the job. We're playing 17-year-old Lewis Miley against Kyle Walker, Rodri, a guy who's learning his trade in the game. And Man City, with the best manager, are miles ahead of us. And unlike all these other teams, as we found out this week, we are so desperately trying to play within the rules of the FFP. And what Howe has done, there's been, from 2 years, we were third from bottom. And now look where we are. So don't be too quick to jump on the Eddie Howe, you're not the right manager for us bandwagon, because this is going to take 5 or 6 years under these new FFP and progressive rules, value for money rules. And it will take a lot of time. But the biggest problem for the whole of football, not just Newcastle or Man United the other week, is the VAR. That there is it's killing the game in enjoyment. I sat there tonight and I'm watching for maybe a marginal offside for the first goal, the foul, and it's ruining my enjoyment. But who cares about us, is what I want to know. Who cares about the supporters? Does anybody?
Andy, great call. Brilliant point. And thank you very much for calling in. Get your calls in 03717 223344. I think this is a great point. I want to just expand on what Andy said there. I watched the FA Cup last week. I watched the Carabao Cup in midweek, and the flow of the game was so much more enjoyable. Is Andy making a big point here? That the enjoyment of the Premier League, we've just had a great game, but the flow of it is not the same as the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. How can the PGMOL and the Premier League be happy when fans are constantly saying the game is a better watch without VAR? I think it's a really good point, in my opinion.